In this video, we will be talking about Big M method and we'll learn how to apply the Big M method to solve the linear programming problem. So when we solve a linear programming problem using Simplex method, we start always with a ready basic feasible solution with basis matrix always as an identity matrix to construct the first simplex table. And in the first simplex table, because the basis matrix is the identity matrix, so we require no computation, and the xp, which is the solution, is readily the right hand side of the constraint, because xb as a formula was b inverse multiplied by b. This I have explained in my last video when we have done the simplex method. So if b is an identity matrix, so obviously the identity inverse is this, and hence xb becomes the right hand side. And in case this identity matrix is missing from the basis matrix, then we introduce the artificial variable, and I denote artificial variable as ai to get the ready BFS. And then we start the algorithm as usual as we apply for simplex method. So Big M do not have a different algorithm, it apply in the similar manner, and it have same optimality and feasibility criteria as we have applied in the simplex method. Now as we involve the artificial variable for the ready identities in the constraint, so their contribution should also go in the objective function, and in the objective function the cost of the artificial variable, which I have denoted here by CA, is capital M if LPP objective function is of minimization, and it is minus M if the LPP objective function is of maximization. And here M is a very high penalty cost, which is considered as M. If we want to achieve a minimization, so it deviates it from the minimum value and it adds to the minimum value. If it is maximization, then it is considered as minus M, it deviates us from the maximum value, and hence this cost associated with the artificial variable is also called it as a penalty cost due to the artificial variable. So in general, Big M method can give the following cases. So the first case is if no artificial variable remain in the basis. So when I say in the basis, that means in the last simplex table, when we have performed the entering and leaving criteria, then the system is called consistent. So if there is no artificial variable, that means we are working with the original decision variable, including slack surplus variable, and hence the system give us the feasible solution, and we can always find the optimal value. The second possibility is that artificial variable remain in the basis with a positive value. So it does not leave the basis and it is remaining in the system. So obviously it is considered as inconsistent, have no solution, or I may also consider this as infeasible solution, because the artificial is in the system and then we are solving the system. So since it is giving us an artificial solution, so we consider that it gives us the infeasible solution. And in the third case, if artificial variable remain in the basis with the zero value, so artificial variable is appearing in the last simplex table, but its solution is a 0. So even if its solution is 0, multiplied by its cost, its contribution is 0 in the objective function, and hence we say that the system is consistent, and this is also a category of the degenerate basic solution, because if artificial variable is in the basis and it appears with a 0 value, so a basic variable with 0 value is what we have defined it as a degenerate basic solution. Now I'm going to consider one problem for each case for a better understanding. So let us first consider an example for case 1. So we want to solve this first problem using the Big M method, and here the objective function is minimization subject to these constraints. So the first step is similar as we have applied in the simplex method. Write the LPP into standard form by introducing slack surplus variables with cost 0 and artificial variable AI with cost M. Since it is minimization, so the cost of the artificial variable will be considered as M, which is the penalty cost. So you can see here the objective function is minimize it, 2x1 plus 8x2 plus 0 times s1 plus 0 times s2. This is slack variable, and we require two artificial variable. Why do I require two artificial variable? To see this, let us see from the question. This first constraint is 5x1 plus 10x2 equal to 150. This is already an equality constraint, so I don't need to add slack surplus variable. This requires slack variable, so it is x1 plus s1 equal to 20. This constraint requires a surplus, so it is x2 minus s2 equal to 14. And then I am going to write all decision variables greater than or equal to 0. So now you can see that here what is the coefficient matrix? The current coefficient matrix is we have x1, x2, s1, s2. There are 4 decision variables. x1 will correspond to, you can see it from the coefficient 5, 1, and in this constraint there is no x1. So the first entry will be 5, 1, 0. x2 coefficient, this is 10. So x2 is not appearing in the second constraint and it is appearing in the third constraint. So this is 10, 0, 1. S1 is appearing in the second constraint, so this is 0, 1, 0, and S2 which is a surplus, so this is appearing in the third constraint. Now you can see that B is equal to identity is not available in our problem. So we only have this identity column, which is this, which is the second identity column, that is 0, 1, 0. And in the basis matrix, I require a 3 cross 3 identity matrix. So I require two columns 1 0 0, and I also require 0 0 1, because this second column 0 1 0, it is already available with corresponding to S1, and I require an artificial variable here and an artificial variable here. So this artificial variable should be going in the first constraint, this artificial variable should be in the third constraint, so that I get the B as the identity matrix. And this is the minimum selection. You should not add all the artificial variable, because we want artificial variable to leave the basis to get a feasible solution. So we should add the least number of artificial variable which is required to construct an identity matrix. Hence we do not require an artificial variable in the second constraint, because we already can work with the S1 variable. So we add an artificial variable in the first constraint, although the first constraint is already in equality, and over and above we are adding an artificial variable. That is why the name is artificial variable, and this will have a meaning only when artificial variable will take the value 0. Only then this equation and this equation will be having a physical meaning. If artificial variable is not equal to 0, then we say that it has infeasible solution. And similarly, in the third constraint we have added an artificial variable because we require an identity column. So A2 is equal to 14. You can see that here already it is an identity, so we also require artificial variable should be equal to 0 to have a feasible solution. If this is not equal to 0, then it will have an infeasible solution. So at this moment we take artificial variable to be non-negative, and then we will solve our system to understand what is the value for artificial variable. And now in the current system you can see that actual A is corresponding to x1, this is 510 corresponding to x2 variable, this is 1001 corresponding to the S1, so I'm just writing the decision variable. This is 010 corresponding to S2, this is 0 minus 10, and corresponding to two artificial variable I get 100 So these are the column now in the given coefficient matrix that is now available in the constraint. And from here we are going to select the sub matrix B, which will be considered as the initial basis matrix. And in this initial basis matrix, I am selecting the basic variable in the order A1, S1, A2, so that I get ready identity. So the first column is corresponding to this one, A1, second is corresponding to S1, and the third is corresponding to A2. So I get 0, 1, 0. And then we get 0, 0, 1. So this is a 3 cross 3 initial basis matrix, and since we have a basis matrix, so obviously now my XB is the right hand side, which is non-negative. So XB is 150, 20, 14, and that is the initial basic feasible solution. And we notice that since the objective function is minimization, so I have considered the plus m times A1 plus m times A2. If this objective function is maximization, then we need to consider the cost as minus m minus m. Notice that this m is high penalty, so this is always strictly greater than 0. And we now keeping this basic variable in the first simplex table. You can see that I have written the basic variable in the same order, A1, S1, A2 as the first basic feasible solution, and they correspond to 150, 20, 14, which is the right hand side of the question. And then writing the A matrix straight away in the body of the simplex table. Now because it is corresponding to B equal to identity, so the scalars come as it is, and we need to now calculate the Zj minus Cj. To calculate the Zj minus Cj, I'll have to write Cb vector corresponding to the basic variable. So cost of the artificial variable is m, and cost of the slack variable is 0. So what we do is we multiply the corresponding entries to get the Zj minus Cj. So what we have to do is set of first scalar multiply by Cb vector, 5 into m plus 1 into 0 plus 0 into m, that is 5m minus the cost of x1, that is 5m minus 2. So this is how we calculated Zj minus Cj. And similarly now you multiply with the second set of scalars. So this 10, 0, 1 multiply by Cb vector, 10 into m plus 0 into 0 plus 1 into m. So this is a matrix multiplication, minus 8. So that will give me 11m minus 8. And repeat the process to calculate all Zj minus Cj. Now we have calculated the Zj minus Cj. Now let us look at the Zj minus Cj. Is the Zj minus Cj is less than or equal to 0 for the minimization? If this is less than or equal to 0 for the minimization, the current is optimal. But you can see that this is an m is strictly positive, this penalty which we have considered for the artificial variable. So this 11m minus 8, this is the most positive. It is not all less than or equal to 0. So we are going to enter this one, and by the minimum ratio rule, so this is xb upon the scalars of the entering variable. 150 by 10, that is giving me 15. This is not allowed because here the denominator will be 0, the scalar is 0. The next is 14 by 1. So the minimum is 15 and 14, 14. So hence I have highlighted this green color. So this 1 becomes the pivot element. If this 1 is the pivot element, x2 is entering and a2 is leaving. So instead of a2 in the next table, I get x2. Now again look at the zj minus cj by doing the row operation. So from the previous table we can see that there are 4 rows, R1, R2, R3, R4, and because we have identified the pivot element, so in the next I need 1 here and everywhere I require a 0. So you can apply the row operation. So R1 goes to R1 minus 11m minus 8 with the help of pivot, that is R4. So pivot is in the 4th row and I want to make this element as 0. So this is what I require. R2 second row, so you can see that here we have 10, so R2 minus 10 times with the help of the pivot row. R3 is already 0, so keep it as it is. R4 is also 1, so keep it as it is. So by applying this, you can get filled out this table, and you can see that instead of this A2 column, now we have these entries, and this Z is changed to 112 plus 10m. Earlier it was 164m. So you can see that 164m is a bigger value than 112 plus 10m. So the Z is improving since the problem is minimization. Now again check Zj minus Cj row. In the current Zj minus Cj row, it is still not less than or equal to 0. So we still have an entering variable 10m minus 8. So you just have to focus on m because m is very high. So if there is any positive quantity multiply by m, it will be considered as positive. So here it is 5m, and among these two this is most positive. So enter 10m minus 8, and by the minimum ratio we are going to leave 10 because in the entering variable we have a scalar 0 and we have a minus 1. These two both are not allowed. So 10 is leaving, and hence this 10 becomes the pivot element. So in the next table I require a 1 here and all the other entries 0. And the variable S2 which is entering, that has replaced now the artificial variable A1. Now continue the operation in the similar manner, and also noting that once the artificial variable leaves the basis, I may skip calculating these scalars. So I have not calculated here these scalar and I have put it a cross sign here. If you wish, you can calculate in the similar way as using this standard row operation. So now in the next simplex table we see that Zj minus Cj are still positive, it is not negative, it is 200, but we require Zj minus Cj to be less than or equal to 0. Till the time we do not have, we have to keep doing the iteration. So now you can see that the most positive is plus 2, the others are the zeros. So enter this one, and by minimum ratio rule, this is 1 upon 1 by 2. So the minimum ratio, this is 2. The other is 20 by 1, so this is 20, 15 upon 1 by 2, so this is 30. So the minimum ratio corresponds to S2, and hence this becomes the pivot element, and we get the next table as this one. Now in the last table you see all Zj minus Cj are less than or equal to 0, that satisfy the minimization optimality criteria, and the Z is also 116, it has come from 120 to 116, and all the Z solution are feasible. So this is the optimal table of the problem. So minimum Z is 116 at x1 equal to 2, at x2 equal to 14. So this is the optimal solution, and this is the first, this explains the first case that there is no artificial variable appearing in the basis in the last simplex table. Hence the current system is also considered as consistent system, and we get this as optimal solution. In this second problem, I want to apply a big M method to solve this maximization problem subject to these constraints. And notice now that in these constraints, when I convert this into equality, the first constraint is x1 plus x2 plus s1 equal to 1. And the second constraint gives me 2x1 plus 3x2 minus s2 equal to 6. So obviously here you can see that in the coefficient matrix we have 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 0, 0, minus 1. So again the identity columns are missing. We only have 1, 0, but we do not have 0, 1. We cannot consider these two because their inverse directly is not equal to identity. So I require an artificial variable in the second column. So now adding an artificial variable in the second column, So we write LPP into standard form by introducing slack surplus variable with cost 0 and also introducing artificial variable with cost minus m. You see that now this is a maximization problem. So the cost of the artificial variable is minus m. And while introducing the artificial variable, now we have the A matrix as this. So these two columns will be considered as the initial basis matrix, or I use the basic variable as S1A1. Now if these two are S1A1 as the basic variable, so you see that basic variables are S1A1, and I'm going to construct now the first simplex table directly from the question. Write all the A matrix here, and this is the right hand side 1 6. Calculate the Zj minus Cj. To calculate Zj minus Cj, we must write now Cb vector. Now to get Z1 minus C1, I have written Cb column, and let's multiply 1 into 0 plus 2 into minus m, that is minus 2m, minus the cost of x1. x1 has cost minus 1, 1, 0, 0, and the cost of this is minus m. So minus 2m minus of this quantity, that will give me plus 1. So this is minus 2m plus 1. So I get Z1 minus C1. Similarly, let us multiply by Z2 minus C2. If I want to calculate the value for Z2 minus C2, so I am going to multiply this with this one. 0 into 1 plus 3 into minus m. So it is minus 3m minus this one. So that is minus 1. And hence we calculate all Zj minus Cj. Now by looking this Zj minus Cj, we have to see whether this is optimal or not. In the current table, since the problem is maximization, so I require Zj minus Cj should be greater than or equal to 0. This is the optimality criteria. And if it is not there, then we enter the variable Zj minus Cj with most negative value, since it is maximization. So here the most negative is minus 3m minus 1. So I enter x2. So entering x2, we now check the minimum ratio 1 by 1, 6 by 3, and the minimum is 1. So S1 leaves the basis. So we have replaced S1 now by x2, and we require a 1 here and a 0 here at every other place. So I have applied the standard operation. R1 goes to R1 minus of 3m minus 1. So this is the entry, minus 3m, and this I want to make it 0. So I have subtracted R1 from the same quantity with the help of pivot. Pivot is in the second row. R2 will remain as it is because we require 1, and R3 goes to R3 minus 3 times with the help of pivot row. So R3 has 3, so I have subtracted again from 3 so that it becomes 0. So now with these operations, I get these entries. Let us now calculate the Zj minus Cj row of the second table. The first entry that I want to write here, this is minus 2 times m plus 1. The previous minus 3m minus 1 with the help of R2. R2 here it is 1. So this gives me the value as m, and this is minus plus 1. So that is plus 2. So this value is m plus 2. Similarly, if I want to calculate Z2 minus C2, so you can see that previous 3m minus 1 and this value. So this is minus 3m minus 1 minus of minus 3m minus 1 with the help of pivot. So this value is obviously 0 because this is our entering variable. For the next case, this value is R1 is a 0 minus 3m minus 1 with the help of R2. R2 is 1. So this value becomes 3m plus 1. And for S2 and A2, you can see that R1, this is m minus R2 is 0. So this value will be 0, and similarly here both are 0. So this value will be 0. For the Z value that I am going to write here, the earlier it was minus 6m and R2. So this is minus 6m minus of minus 3m minus 1. R2 is 1. So this becomes minus 6m plus 3m plus 1. So that value is minus 3m plus 1. So this is minus 3m plus 1. So Z row we can calculate either by the row operation or even by multiplying this by this, subtracting the cost of the original variable. So you can verify that this value 3 into minus m plus this into this. Now we can see that all the Zj minus Cj are greater than or equal to 0. So the current table is optimal. There is no entering variable, but artificial variable is still in the basis at positive value. So A1 is equal to 3 and Z is dependent on artificial. So the value for Z is minus 3m plus 1. So that means its solution is possible with the help of artificial variable only, and hence the system is inconsistent. So we cannot find the solution with the original decision variable. Artificial variable has not left the basis. So I'm going to conclude that no solution of the above LPP or infeasible solution. And to make it more justifiable, I have solved here the graphical solution also. You can see that initial problem is having two variables. So if I draw a graph of the initial problem, so you can see that one of the constraint is giving me the region this one and another constraint is giving me the region this one. There is nothing common between these two. So hence, from the graphical, we can easily understand what do we mean by infeasible solution. So in the simplex method, whenever artificial variable is appearing in the basis at the positive level or at the positive value, we say that the system is inconsistent or the LPP is not solvable or it has infeasible solution. That categorized to our second possibility in the Big M method. Now in the third problem, I want to solve this linear programming problem with maximization, and I'm using again Big M method. So you can see that first constraint is equality, second is greater than, third is less than. And so once I write the LPP into standard form, introducing slack, surplus variable and artificial variable, the first constraint need to have an A1 and second also need to have an artificial variable because I have a surplus variable. The third slack variable will work for the ready identity. So I have written here S2 will correspond to 001 and A1, A2 will correspond to 100 and so on. So with this, I construct now the first simplex table as standard simplex table, and I have calculated Zj minus Cj row with the formula. So in the Zj minus Cj row, now I check whether this Zj minus Cj is greater than or equal to 0 or not, since it is maximization problem. So we see still there is a negative value. So we enter most negative value -7 and +2, and we remove the one with the minimum ratio. So we can see that minimum ratio is 3/3, 6/4 and 3/1. So the least correspond to the first artificial variable. And while applying the standard row operation, I want to make this element as 1 and all the other element as 0. So apply the row operation in the usual sense as we have applied in simplex method. This point I have explained in my all previous videos. Now replace x2 by x1 and all other decision variable as it is as a basic variable. So we get this table. Now again look at Zj minus Cj. If the Zj minus Cj is greater than or equal to 0, it is optimal. If not, find the entering variable. So we have this entering variable and we find the corresponding leaving variable. Now notice that there is a tie in the minimum ratio rule. So you can remove anyone, either A1 or S2. So in this case, I have removed S2 variable, slack variable, and in the next table, you can see that I have now x1, A2 and x2. Since S2 is replaced by the x2 variable, now the entering variable is x2. And in the next table, I get a artificial variable appear at the value 0. So it is in the basis, but its value is 0. So we may say the artificial variable is appearing at 0 level. So whenever artificial variable is appearing at 0 level, still the system is consistent. That is the third case, because 0 multiplied by -m will not contribute anything to the z. Z was CB into XB. At this table, the cost of the basic variable is -2m minus 1 and the XB is 3/5 to 0 to 6/5. So when I do the matrix multiplication, this is -6/5, 0 into m will be 0 minus 6/5. So the total quantity is -12/5, and hence we have written z as -12/5. So the z maximum is -12/5 at x1 equal to 3/5 and x2 equal to 6/5. So this is the optimal solution. And also notice that in this tie, when I have removed the slack variable, we could have also removed the artificial variable. So the other variable which is in the tie, the next solution that we get here will always be a degenerate basic feasible solution. So degenerate means, so the other variable that we are calculating due to the tie will give me the value 0. Say in this table, if we have removed artificial variable, so in that case, the next table, slack variable which is corresponding to x2 will give me the value as 0. So here instead of 6/5, I would have got the value 0. So this is why we say degenerate basic feasible solution. So whenever there is a tie in the minimum ratio rule, we always get a degenerate basic feasible solution. And also we have seen now that all the Zj minus Cj are positive. Now you can see the sign corresponding to m is positive. M is with a plus sign. So we'll consider that Zj minus Cj are all greater than or equal to 0, and hence this is considered as optimal. So Big M have now three possibility. Either the artificial variable remain in the basis, it has no solution. artificial variable leaves the basis, it has feasible solution and we can find optimal. And the third possibility, artificial variable remain in the basis at 0 level. Still it is considered as the system is consistent and we can find the optimal solution.